the let's start with the purpose of this live.
Okay.
If we leave this video up, or we can maybe edit it to condense it.
Yeah.
But we wanted to go live to receive questions and answer them and talk about the delay, because there's a massive elephant in the room,
Yes.
and it's the delay. But we have valid reasons. We think that they're valid reasons for the delay, and we wanted to talk through it with the community. That's why we wanted to go live.
Yes.
It's one thing to post an edited video, and another thing to take questions and communicate with the community.
100%.
But if
Yes.
nobody joins, then it is just like us posting a video, and it's just us talking like we normally do.
True. But I'm
But
sure people will, I'm sure people
maybe
will join.
maybe while we wait for people to join, this camera is really good quality, so we can show the quick history of what we've been doing over the past year. So this is the Demley Auto Dice. It's over 100 years old. This is the second one that I've purchased, because the first one's in Washington with our new engineer. We made some plastic prototypes that don't work right now because I don't know. There was a lot of we're getting some motion. There were just a lot of issues to work with. There was a lot of engineering. We went to plastic. We tried plastic, a little bit of both. Our first endeavor into metal was kind of interesting. And we knew that the most common thing was, the internals had to function. And with this prototype, we nailed it. We focused on the internals, but we didn't focus on the structure and the gears. See, they're not fully lined up. So there's some things that we wanted to fix there. This was just a sticker that we added. We played with oil fill. This is oil fill and sticker. We used these on the Kickstarter video. And now we can happily say that we have an incredible product that works. And it spins forever. It has tiny little ball bearings in it. And they look phenomenal. And they reflect light, and they're fully metal, and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And if we boiled down the last couple of months and the year of delays, it was, not ever having a product that we were happy with. And that's kind of the crux of everything. It was never good enough for us. And now we're there. We're totally there. And we're in the middle of production.
Yeah, but maybe just, you showed 5, 6, 7, 8 prototypes. Maybe just talking about the timeline, like it took us a few years from the moment till we, when we started this project, where people were excited. Even it took us like a year or two just to go just to launch this on Kickstarter, right? The cycle of a project is not a press of a button. It takes, I don't want to say forever, but it takes a few years from the moment where the ideation till we actually ship the product.
Yeah, and we get excited as soon as we have some viral momentum. And I remember when our first video of our prototype took off, and we were just full pedal to the metal, and there were a ton of things still left to solve, and we definitely underestimated the difficulty there. And there were many times over the past year that we could have shipped what we had.
That's true.
But we felt an obligation to get as close to what we were showing people on Kickstarter as we could. And we felt an obligation to make something that we were proud of. And, you can chalk like 8 to 10 months of the delay up to us going back and forth at the factory. Like, this is not good enough. Like, we don't like it. And we have really high standards, just like our community and our backers do. We want something that everybody's going to be proud of.
Let's take a step back and maybe just talk just in one sentence or two. Because this feels to me very similar to what happened with Flipdie, right? There were, we launched an amazing project. We got 17,000 backers, and I think after like a few like and we delivered this project after around a year, but I remember like people were very how should I say, they were stressed, like what's going on, like you raised $2 million, why it takes so long, why it takes so long, and why do you do a slow rollout, and where do I gonna get my flip die, right? We you know, I have it here, the flip die, the project before the Diceomatic. And I feel although all these concerns converted into happy customers in the end. Like after they got their product, they were so happy, and everybody said you over delivered, right? And all those concerns were converted into happy customers. And I think, I believe that this is what's going to happen with this project as well.
Yeah, you know, there's an end product here that we are done with. Every SKU, every colorway, every wheel option. We got the pictures of the packaging today, and it's
It's
incredible. And
amazing.
but even that has
Yeah.
taken some time, right? Here's our prototype packaging. We did this first. We nailed this. It's got a magnet flap. It's got foam inserts that hold the Diceomatic and then hold more Dicematics underneath. So a full set of 5. It shows off what it looks like. And once we got this done, we were able to wrap it with the design. And we, you know, if there's one thing that we do that is, you know, we want it to be as cool as possible, and so we spent some time on making the letters gold foil.
Yeah. So again, I'm trying to maybe echo what a lot of backers, you know, have said. Why did it take so long? Why, you know, like we said, it's going to take 6, 7, 8 months, and in the end, it took 16 months, or you know, close to that. Let's say 18 months. Why did it take so long? How can we? Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's that the answer is twofold. The answer is that did we take too long? Yes, we did.
we did. Yes.
Could we have gone faster? Yes, but I don't know how we could have, you know. If I could go back in time with all the information that we have now, we could have moved lightning fast. But over the past, you know, year, we've been building something, you know, from the ground up. There were delays with, you know, figuring out how to get the gears to work, and then matching the colors on the top of the Diceomatic. We spent, you know, 6 months going back and forth with the factory trying to get colors closer to what was promised.
Yeah.
You know, this is not what was promised, and that takes time and iteration. And you know, something that was cool here is we invented a brand new manufacturing process. And
Yeah.
in hindsight, that is super frustrating for a community, especially backers. We, you know, in pure transparency and honesty, we had a method to make these, and it was printed on tin, and we had this other revelation come during the process where we worked with the factory. We found this cool method, and we're like, that is infinitely better. And our biggest mistake was assuming that it would be easy, but
We thought it's going to be easy.
we thought it would be easy. We ended up having to build new machines that do things that Chinese machines have never been able to do before. And a 3-step process that involves 3 different machines that have never been used to manufacture a product before. And you know, I think we got excited because the end result, we could see this vision of the end result being incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the time just slips away, right? We spend a month working on this cool process, and then we find a little
Yeah.
issue, and then we spend a month working on that issue, and then we find something else. And
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want to say that, you know, one thing that even for me was hard to understand, why the coloring takes so long, or we had to go back and forth. There were, I think, dozens of iteration. Why we had to go back and forth about the coloring. again, I don't know if we want to get into the technical explanation why. I don't think backers care, but we did had like a technical challenge that was a lot back and forth, and we had to wait each time we wanted to produce a prototype or test the coloring. Like we had to wait, get it in the USA. That every iteration was a few weeks, and I think it was frustrated for us. Like it's very hard to we want this to be a little bit more green or dark green, like, and we tried to send the actual colors numbers, but it didn't turn out well, right? Or maybe you can talk about that a bit. I don't know if we want to get into the technical
No, I think the important part of the technical process is that we involve our community in the process, and we love to do that. And that's kind of a double-edged sword, because when you involve the community, they have really good ideas, and they give really good feedback, and they think of things that we haven't thought of before, and we kind of get lost in that mojo of like, oh, that's an incredible idea, let's do that. Oh, we love that idea, let's do that.
yeah.
And then but it's a two-edged sword, because if you do if some of the community like it and some of the community don't like it, you get put in a really awkward position where it's like, no matter your choice. um but you know I think that's what Kickstarter was created for, and there's no excuses for taking this long, but we definitely got lost in the sauce a little bit with community involvement, and but you shouldn't get lost in the sauce. There are things that are important. If your community is telling you that the colors are wrong, then the colors are wrong. And so we feel with the community that we agree. If you don't think it's good enough, we don't think it's good enough, and sometimes we just don't think it's good enough, and we don't share that. I'm holding prototypes that we didn't share because they're just ugly, and we were like, people are gonna hate this. We have
Yeah.
to fix it before we show it. And sometimes we would even show something and say, we know that they're gonna hate this, and we would say like, you're gonna hate this, and people would be like, I hate this, and we're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
um
I just want to, yeah, let's talk about, what happened in the last 18 months for Yaro Studios. I feel like, the
well,
company grew, like we
let me
hired, okay,
hold
go.
on. We have There's nobody watching right now,
Okay,
but I think this was a good
okay,
practice. What I think we should do is, let's pick a time. Let's
okay.
do a Kickstarter update an hour before and say we are going live in 1 hour.
Maybe,
Here's the link.
maybe even 1 hour, that's all you want to give them. Maybe even, we could do an update and say we're going live on my, but I think it's, like, I don't care if people are joined or not. I think like this content is gold. Like, let's record that and then we can decide if we're going to post that or not. Let's just,
Okay, I think it's recording.
okay. Um, Talk a few minutes about, how we grew the company. What happened to Yaro Studios in the last 18 months?
Yeah, we as a company are going through a growth spurt, and those, can be painful as you're growing.
Yeah,
Um, but we've hired an engineer, a full-time engineer, who we introduced the community
yeah,
to. We've hired multiple customer support staff and community managers. We've hired, graphic artists and things, and so we're growing. We're creating these cool jobs, doing fun stuff. But I've never really hired people before, and so that is, it's new to me, and I'm a people pleaser, so I just want to, everybody that we hire, I want to be like, oh yeah, come on, let's go. But you can't do that. And there's negotiation, which is also new to me, right? It's
yeah.
contracts and stuff, and so that was where part of the delay was coming from. I would say a third of the delay was growing pains. Um, that said,
Yes.
I think we're in an incredible position for 2025. Like, if we were talking to investors, which we kind of are, they're investing in our product. We're building the groundworks of an incredible team to solve these issues. Because look, you know, me and you and Iran and Tanner, we talk probably every other day about the delay. We read every single comment on Kickstarter. We share the frustration, and we're trying to fix it. And part of fixing it is hiring and building those solutions, and those take time and they pull time away from other things. But the idea is, and we're already seeing the fruit of it, is the ability to move faster now is totally doable. We can't go back in time, but we can try to build the systems and see where our faults were
Yeah.
going forward.
Okay. So, just one last thing that we didn't mention is, why it took so long. We had technical challenges. We hired an engineer. We hired 3 new people for the support. I think one thing is the SKUs. Like, we had like 50 SKUs. Maybe you want to talk about that. Why this was complicated specifically for
Yeah,
Diceomatic.
we're continuously learning, and it's funny if you look at the projects that we've built together, they get more complicated every single time. The first project that we ever did together was a printed book of D&D maps. And it was as easy as finding a printer and telling them to print our maps. There was some technology there, and then we did flip die together, and we engineered something new, but it was 2 SKUs, right? And they all shared the same engineering. Um, and then we did Diceomatic, and the SKUs, we've talked about this before earlier in the live, but we kind of said yes to every idea because we liked the ideas, and
Yeah.
we were riding this high from the last campaigns of like, the backers know what they're talking about. I'm gonna get on a soapbox for a second. I hate when Kickstarter creators misuse the Kickstarter community. You have creators that create fake stretch goals. They figure out the stretch goals internally already, and they know exactly what they're gonna release. But I don't think that that's fair. I like to build with the community. We like to engage with them and see what the direction that they want to go and build with them. I think in hindsight, we said yes to everything, and we ended up, part of it was, can we make a device? D6s are cool, but can it roll a D8 and a D12 and a D20? And can it roll a decision dice-o-matic and D10s and D percentiles? And we were like, yes, 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 yes. This thing's existed for 100 years. This is going to be easy. But then we
Yeah.
get into the mechanism, and we're like, this mechanism rolls a D6 different than it rolls a D20.
Yeah.
And when the D20 is in the same device as the D6 device, the windows show too much of it. So
Yeah.
every time we made a tweak for one of those dice sets, we had to make sure that it worked for all of the dice sets. And we did it, but
Yeah.
it took a ton of time.
Yeah. I just want to say that I remember there was one girl in the group that said, she said, why don't you do a decision disomatic? And she even gave us all the options. And, that turned into Zoltar's picks. And then people said, we want Art Deco. We didn't want to do that. But as you said, people asked nicely. There were hundreds of people that said, I want the Art Deco. I want the Art Deco. So we said, okay, we're going to, I think maybe looking backwards, that wasn't I think today maybe we're a little bit more mature. We'll think about it. I'm not sure we will do all those features.
Yeah, and it's so tough, especially when building with a community is so fun,
It was fun.
because and it's fun to say yes, right? I have
Yeah.
kids, and I like when my son asks me for something like a sucker, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he's like, "Mom said no." And then I'm like, "Oh crap, I'm in trouble." But getting that little rush of dopamine from saying yes and being the one that gave him
Yeah.
the sucker. But it's
Yeah.
not building with the community, there can be scope creep for sure.
Yeah.
And we kind of saw that a little bit with this campaign, but the fears of producing too much, we overpromised in the sense that it took more time to develop, but we did develop it, and we put all the money from this campaign in a bucket, and we didn't touch it, and it was reserved for this campaign. And so I think a lot of Kickstarter creators, you see it time and time again where they overpromise,
Yeah.
and they end up not delivering, and they run out of money. Hey Daniel, we're totally just spitballing here. Daniel says hi. He's in the. If you have
Okay.
questions, hit us with it. We're trying
Yeah.
something new here. But I think that a lot of people end up thinking that it was just a scam. And I think about, if I had to guess, being in this
Yeah.
for so long, I would
Yeah.
say about 95%, maybe more, of Kickstarter companies that take money and disappear had the best intentions, but they ran out of money. And so I don't think that I think that there's a very, very, very small amount of campaigns that are set out to outright scam people. I think that people just run out of money. And so I think a lot of the decisions that we do, I don't want to say that all the time that we took was wasteful and that we screwed up, because it's put us in a spot where we're going to deliver everything to
Yeah.
everybody, and it all works, and it works incredible, and it looks beautiful, and every SKU that we have promised we're going to deliver, and we have the money to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's, it comes with
Yeah.
it's a tough balance.
Yeah, let's talk about a bit. I want to ask you, like, we have a lot of common questions, but just maybe I want to ask you, like, maybe talk about Yarrow Studios' track record, because I feel like there's a lot of people that never, this is their first time with Yarrow Studios. So I feel like, a lot of our previous backers, they know that we deliver and they're going to get a good product, but there's some people that never backed a Kickstarter or never backed the Yarrow Studio project, and they are a bit worried. I see Daniel is asking a question. And
Yeah, let
yeah,
me answer his
go
question real quick, because it's what we
ahead.
were talking about. Then I'll answer
Yeah,
your question. So
okay.
part of the way that we do things, especially with the slow rollout, it every time we make any decision for any of our products, me and Iran talk about this a lot, is we talk about making the right decision for longevity, thinking long term versus short term. And so luckily you live in the UK, there's new
Yeah,
customs, there's new tariffs, there's all sorts of things, and we are not worried about that. Obviously we're worried from the point of like, oh, this new tariff is going to cost us a bunch of money, but we've kind of built that into our system and planned for it. And because
yeah,
we take things slow, um, we're not going to kick that cost to you, Daniel. We have the funds to cover that and take care of
yeah,
that, and we don't see any issues there. And that's part of the wisdom in going slow and double checking and verifying every step of the process. But it's so I get it. It's so frustrating for people when we tell them that, hey, we're going to ship out 300 tables first, even though we're ready for 10,000, and we find little things that we can fix and make that process better. And this is one of them. How do we navigate the tariff and the custom situation with as it's changing? And these 300 tables have allowed us to do that. So we do that with all of our products.
yeah.
And to answer your question, Iran, we are serial creators. We've been on the Kickstarter platform for 5 years.
Yes.
A lot of these things that we're doing, um, it's not guesswork from us. It's to mitigate risk and to be a company that's around for a long time. So when we're going back and forth with the factory and making sure that the product is good, even though that's taking 3 months, we're having a meeting where we're like, look, this is going to add 3 months and people are going to be upset, and we don't have an end date, but we have experience that we can point to from past projects, like the scrolls, for example, where we royally screwed up and we printed a set of scrolls without the grid,
Oh, okay.
and shipped all of those out. And if we would have gone slower and double checked stuff, we would have avoided that. So I think what happened is we did our early campaigns and we made sure that the product was incredible, but we ran too fast where we didn't have to run fast. But I think we maybe are erring too hard on the side of let's slow down, and we slowed down a lot and we mitigated a lot of risk to deliver this product, and we can say that we're going to deliver to everybody and we're
Yeah.
going to do it and it's going to be perfect. Could we have gone faster? Yeah, now that we've learned these lessons, we'll continue to go faster.
Yeah, let's just say, without providing any private numbers, but Yarrow Studios financially is in a really good place. And we have the money to ship Gamefold and Diceomatic and all the other outstanding projects. And, even when the company was young, as you said, with the Infinite Dungeon, with the scrolls, when we had the issue with the grid and the issue with the handles, we financed, or you financed that from your own money. Even when we lost money, we made everything to make sure everybody's happy. So I want everybody to know that that it's not an option for us not to deliver this project. This is the reason we wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I'll pull another loan out on my condo if we need to. Worst case scenario, deliver this
yeah, and
project.
yeah, and I know, there were times where you are financially stressed. We are way past these times, and we have money in the bank, and we can deliver this project, and we have margins, even if Trump will raise the tariffs from 25 to 50%. Now,
Now,
yeah, yeah,
that said, um, that that is part of the delay. Like going full circle back to the beginning. Um, I'm not trying to toot our own horn or brag, but
yeah,
me and you take multiple calls from other Kickstarter creators regularly.
yeah,
And we do it for free. We consult, we
yeah,
help other people in the
yeah,
industry.
yeah,
And many times we're like, slow down,
yeah,
double
yeah,
check,
yeah, yeah,
pull the
yeah,
community, do a slow rollout. And a lot of creators are like, no, that's crazy. No, I don't want to deal with that
yeah,
fallout. And we're like,
yeah, yeah.
it
I
work.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
I think two things I want to say. Like, if our philosophy is, first of all, mitigate our risk, and the second thing is, I've seen that with not many, but some other creators, where they use the money that they got to finance new project, to finance other stuff, and we know that this money is sacred, and we put it in the bank, and we didn't touch it, and we just recently paid the factory. Again, that money was sacred, and just a few weeks ago we used that to pay the factory for the Diceomatic. So again, okay. Let's talk about the common
Yeah, but let
questions.
let
Yeah.
me
Okay.
let
Go
me
ahead.
speak to that really
Okay.
quick because my screensaver keeps changing and it
Okay.
changes the light on my face. So now I'm looking
Okay.
at a desert, so it's like round. But I think if I looked back on this year, what we could have done differently
Okay.
is we came out of the Flip Die campaign
Yes.
um, feeling very confident,
Mm.
and we did a lot of work at the ground level to earn the trust of the community and stay transparent.
Yeah.
And they knew that that money was sacred, that it was going towards the campaign, and that it was going to be delivered. They were there every step of the way. And I think we kind of took that for granted on the Diceomatic campaign, that like and I know that that money is safe and it's going to the Diceomatic campaign and nobody has to stress. But we weren't communicating that. We assumed that they were
Yeah.
Flip Die backers and they knew to trust us. But the overlap is almost non-existent. We looked
Yeah.
at the numbers
Less than ten
recently and
percent.
it's
Less than 10%.
less than 10% were from Flip Die. And so we definitely took that trust for granted and need to in the future focus on that and rebuild it every single time.
Amazing. Who's in the background? Amazing. Hello, beautiful. It's you, me.
Hey, can you talk? Do you think these are cool? What does it do? What does it do? Tell the camera what it does.
Spins.
And it rolls dice?
Yeah.
Cool. And how many do you have in your room that you've taken from my office?
So many.
Okay. I'm gonna be up in a second.
Okay.
No, I need this one. You can take that one.
Okay, let's
Okay,
let's
you can
go
take
over
those
really
two. No
quick.
more. I love you.
Something.
Yeah, here.
Maybe Boy can
You have any?
answer that.
No.
Tanner.
Oh, can I have that one?
Okay.
Hey, we gotta focus. We gotta focus.
Okay.
Sorry, Lauren.
Four
Lauren's
questions
upstairs
and 4 questions in 5 minutes. Why are you selling on your website? Or maybe the question should be, you know, I backed the Kickstarter and now I see that on the website. You know, explain the philosophy.
Yeah, so Michael just commented that he was one of the 10%, and I just want to speak to that really quick while he's here. But
Go
yeah,
ahead.
it blew our mind that the overlap is so low. You know, the advice that I would give to Kickstarter creators early on years ago was, you know, foster this community because it carries over. And maybe for companies like Simon it does, where it's just board games and it's similar board games going to the same market. But I would have assumed that the flip die backers would have been way more overlap with Diceomatic because they're both dice. But it's less than 10%. So the people that have been with us from the beginning, if you take the people that also back the map book, Flip Die, and Diceomatic, it's probably like less than 100 people. And our total backers are like, you know, 40,000 people, 50,000 people. It's crazy.
Yeah. Only Flip Die and the book are 17 and 16. It's like 33,000, and we got another 10 from Dice. Yeah, we are 50,000 backers. Okay, so again, why are you selling on your website? Or maybe the question is, you know, if I back why should I back the Kickstarter if you're selling this on the website? Maybe that's the right question.
Yeah, so we took a lot of I'm just reading Daniel's new comment. UK Spain backers facing it's actually scary that actually made it.
Okay, we can bring this up. Can you let us know where's the comments so we can look at that?
I think he's Gamefold. But I don't want to skirt around this question of selling on the website. So while we look at that, so yeah, we look at the end of the day, we have built a model that I think, and I could be wrong because I'm wrong all the time, is sustainable in the future. It's hard to build stuff in this industry. It's hard to, you know, you're competing with Hasbro, you're competing with Spin Master, you're competing with Simon and hundreds of employees. But Kickstarter still exists as this oasis where new creators can go onto the platform and become a huge player. Like I'm been messing around with this Bamboo Labs 3D printer. Did you know that they started on Kickstarter?
No? Amazing. Wow.
Yeah. And they did like 50 million printers or something, or they sold that much money worth in this last year, and they're a full-blown software company now. And that's so cool that there's like, even though these massive corporations, I'm getting a little conspiracy theory here, they want, you know, new creators to have the biggest barriers to entry, but there's still these little pockets like Kickstarter that allows people to get in. But that said, if a creator makes the wrong decisions too many times, they'll run out of money and they won't exist.
True.
And that sucks because a lot of people, you know, they go to Kickstarter to do what they want to do, right? It's how many people are making D&D modules and hoping that, fingers crossed, that can become their career. And luckily, I think we figured it out. Part of that is selling on our website and pre-ordering. That is part of the process. And the only thing that we can say and promise and stand by, and the community has to take our word for this, is that Kickstarter will always get a better deal as our first supporters.
Yes.
And they will always be delivered first.
Yes.
Now, that said, we make mistakes, right?
So,
and people find that sometimes.
Yes.
Like on our website, you know, we will do a Kickstarter update and say that where there's a delay.
Yeah.
But if we won't change the website that says that that it's changing. And so people are like, oh, you said March and the website says January. That's crazy that you're delivering to the website first. I think that, and as we grow our customer support team and we're training them, and that's the least fun part of this whole thing,
Yeah.
they'll respond with something that's like, hey, thanks for your concern.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a backer. And what we should do in the future and what we're training them to do and say is like, hey, thanks for catching that. That's not correct. We
Yeah.
didn't update
Exactly.
the website. We're getting to that. We will update it.
Yeah. And
Thank you, Michael.
yeah. So, if people want, like in the end of the day, if people want to wait, they could wait and buy this on the website. But again, the Kickstarter backers will get a better deal, and they will get that, before people that order that on our website. And
Let's talk
yeah,
about Daniel's comment real quick, and then we
yeah.
should,
Okay, go ahead.
after this call, get on with our customer support team
Yeah.
and help make it as clear as possible. But it all ties together. Going slow is frustrating. The fruit is really good products, and we're working to go faster. The other fruit of that is being able to finance and survive these tough situations, like COVID. COVID killed a lot of
Companies.
D&D creators. Even if we just narrowed it down to the niche that we're in, there were a lot of creators that had just started their careers on Kickstarter making D&D stuff, and COVID wiped them out.
Yeah.
And luckily, I think we've made wrong decisions, but we've made enough right decisions to survive through that.
Yeah, let me ask something that a lot of backer ask. So we have 2, 3, 4 new projects in the pipeline, and again, I'm just trying to stillman that for a second. Why are you working on your Tanner? Why are you working on your project before we fulfill Gamefold and Diceomatic
Yeah.
and other projects?
Well, let me finish this
Okay.
with for his comment that we aren't worried. We are very aware of the tariffs and the imports and the fees. And even if we, here's my promise, even if we lose money, we will make sure that everybody gets it for what we promised it for, because we want to be around for long. Even though the overlap is like 10%, you're all important to us. That's part of building with the community that we don't fake. But when we're slow to communicate, as we try to balance communication, because we're trying a million different things, right? We're doing Facebook Lives, we're doing blog posts, we're frustrated with the way that Kickstarter's update changes that they're making, and so we're just trying to balance the best type of communication. But it's not, with the backers having that be their only data, it makes sense that people are like, they don't know about these tariffs, or they're not ready for these tariffs. But we talk about this stuff every day. We are ready for it. And yeah, we're ready to finance it. But
I want to say something technical really quick. We are shipping, especially to Europe, is going to be DDP, which means that we pay the duty in advance. Now, again, the reason that we're doing a slow rollout is to make sure that everything goes well. So also, I don't think we'll ship everything to Europe and just then figure it out. We want to make sure we're working with the company that is, have a lot of experience. They have, and hopefully this worked in the past, and I don't see a reason why it should not work for the Diceomatic and the Gamefold. But and even in the case that things will change, I think we're gonna, again, that's the advantage of a slow rollout.
Yeah, and it's an advantage and a disadvantage, and it's only a disadvantage when we don't have a good balance in the way that we communicate. That's the key for us, and that's what we're still learning how to do, and we learn with every project, and that answer sucks, but it's the truth. Is that we're figuring it out, and
the whole world is figuring out. All these tariffs are new. No one knows what's going to happen. I don't think it's All the world is in the same boat. We don't know what's going to be the actual tariffs. They keep changing every day. So yeah, I don't think anyone could say, "Hey, I'm experienced. I know what's going to be the tariffs." So
And
we're
that's another reason for some of the delays, right? So when we get a new tariff and
yeah
we get a new thing, we literally are testing this right now with Gamefold. We have we have all the tables at this point produced but not assembled because we're piecing it out. We're trying FedEx, we're trying UPS, we're trying
yeah
different
yeah.
HTS codes.
Uh,
We're trying different import options because we don't, we want to be at, and when we nail it, which we're basically there, then we just pull the
Yeah,
trigger.
I just want to say something technical that is really encouraging. Like according to what I know, and I like you can correct me. Like we shipped 300 tables to the US with the new tariffs. We paid for that DDP. I don't think anyone from the US had to pay extra, according to my knowledge. Like everything was duty paid by us.
No, yeah, and we the other thing too is like we do this on a large scale too, but we with the first 300 tables that are going out for Gamefold, we have a massive spreadsheet that we look at every day with every single individual's tracking number. When we see that the table has made it, we're reaching out. Sometimes we're even calling them and being like, "Hey, you got it." And they get a call. So this is so
It's
funny.
true. It's
We
true. Yeah.
randomly selected 300 people, literally random from our community. And the first girl that I call, the first person that I call was a girl. And she goes, "Hello." And I go, "Hey, this is Tanner Yarrow from Yarrow Studios. This may be totally out of the blue, but I just wanted to let you know that your table just arrived." And she's like, "Tanner, do you know who this is?" And I'm like, That's not good. Who is this? Why should I know who this is?" And it was my childhood friend's wife had backed the campaign for my childhood friend's birthday, who I haven't seen in like 10 years.
Amazing.
And so it was just crazy. She's like, "Yeah, this is just," anyways, I won't say her last name. But
Yeah. Okay.
so yes, so we call, we check, we track, we make sure that people aren't paying extra, we make sure
Okay.
that our packaging is working, and it's gonna take longer.
Okay.
But the difference is, yeah. Anyway, so your other
Yeah.
question was,
Yeah. Other
we're working
new.
on a bunch of
Yeah.
different
New
projects at the
projects.
same time.
Yeah. You wanna address that?
Yeah, Yarrow Studios is supposed to be this think tank. If I could go back in time, I also wouldn't have named it Yarrow Studios because it comes off so
You're good.
pretentious. But
Okay.
but what we're building and what we've built is this think tank, and to fill you in, Iran is the chief of marketing. He's a wizard with marketing. He's touches the product at every step of the way. And then I like to just come up with ideas, and then we come up with ideas together, and we test them and we roll them out. And as we develop products, from the moment that we first come up with a crazy idea, we if you're following along, we post it on TikTok, Instagram, we get some feedback. It usually takes about a year before we launch a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
And then from the time of launching the campaign, we're kind of all hands on deck for those 30 days, because those are very intensive. But outside of Kickstarter, there's a lot of departments at Yarrow Studios between the four employees, but there's four departments, and each person kind of takes ownership of those departments.
Yeah.
And when Iran is working on marketing
Yeah.
ads, that's a world that I am
Yeah.
totally oblivious to. And so there's time for me to I'll spend it, coming up with new ideas or making some crazy TikToks or training customer service.
Yeah.
So we are working on multiple projects, and at first glance, again, this is one of those things you just have to take our word for it. That is not the cause of the delays.
Yeah.
I have never once felt in the last year that spending time on Gamefold has taken time away from Diceomatic. we are handling everything that comes in with Diceomatic as it is coming in that day. But as an example, we'll get proofs from the factory, and we'll approve those proofs, and we'll say, get us the new, you know, samples as soon as possible. And then we have to wait. We wait a week. During that week, we work on something for Gamefold, and we're working on. We just hired a full-time project manager that is, you know, if I could go back in time, I would have hired a project manager a long time ago. That's one thing that I definitely would have changed, because project managing is a crazy beast in and of itself.
Yeah.
But I truly feel that we're in a really good place where we know where every project is at. We know what is outstanding on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And I don't feel, and Iran doesn't feel, and Stefan doesn't feel, and Tatiana doesn't feel, and Alejandra doesn't feel that we are pulled away from any of these given projects, from any
Yeah.
given thing. Now,
Yeah. I want
it's
to
not,
just
yeah,
I want to just say something that we say almost every day. Existing outstanding projects are first priority. We always, when we meet, those are the first thing we tackle, and we always give that a priority. Now, I specifically, I'm not involved in the day-to-day operation of the production, and I'm doing the marketing for the new project. And you and Stefan and Dan and some other people, we don't want to mention their name, they're doing the production for the Diceomatic and the Gamefold and the other project. And we, you know, those things have, the overlap is very small. That's at least my opinion, and you could correct me if I'm wrong.
no, it's very small outside of like a live Kickstarter campaign,
Yeah.
right? Those 30 days. But we just had a meeting. We talked about this, me and you, before this live, where we talked about how there's data that the backers have, and there's data that we have. And from an outside perspective, all the backers can see is that we are super late,
Yes.
and we are running other projects.
Yes. That doesn't
That's
look
all
good.
they can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we can say, look, we are late because we are waiting for the factory. We're
Yeah.
going back and forth at the factory. As soon as they're responding, we are responding to them. But the community has to, I mean, they don't have to, but they have to take our word for it, right? We can say that the projects don't have overlap, but all they can see is that we're
Yeah.
delayed and we're running other projects. And so
Yeah.
the solution, I don't think, is excuses.
Yeah.
It's just getting faster at our processes and getting faster at the manufacturing processes. And a really big key there was hiring a project manager and a full-time engineer, because the honest truth is we do a lot of dev with our factories, and that's very different than a company like Hasbro because it's expensive. So luckily for us, there's, you know, for new creators, there's companies like Alibaba where you can go in and find a trade supplier and say, help me solve this. But there's a lot of back and forth. And up until, you know, very recently, we've been doing a lot of dev with the factory. So we say, you know, this gear needs to spin this way. And they're like, well, let our engineers work on it for a little bit and we'll get back to you. And we
Yeah.
just have to wait. But now with a full-time engineer, we want to be able, and we've been, you know, over the last couple of months have been a drastic change in speed of being able to supply the factories with the not only the 3D files, which we've done in the past, but manufacturing methods and materials. So we can hand it off to a factory and say, do it like this with these materials. And that may sound simple, but when you don't know what material it's going to be made of or how to put it together, and you're relying on the factory for that development, add a year to your projected working time.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. And there's a lot of, as you said, there's a lot of, especially before we hired Stefan, I feel there were a lot of dead moments where we had just to wait. Like the factory is working on this, and we kept asking and pushing, what's up with that, and to say we're working on this. But now we can do a lot of the stuff ourselves in-house and shorten the R&D cycle. So definitely one advantage moving forward. Now I want to, another question that we get a lot, that's about the new project. And as you said, like we can share this information, but they have to. I'll leave that aside. Okay, so some people are saying too much communication, and some people said lack of communication. What do you want to say about that?
Real quick, Michael asked, was wondering if the flip die was still going to get the monthly subscription for a random coin. There is so much that we want to do.
Yeah.
And internally we talk about the hinge events. And the priority for us is delivering the projects that we've built. And I want to answer your question by talking about kind of what we have been talking about, which is the existing projects take first and foremost priority. And there's a mindset shift that we're trying to have at Yarrow Studios as a company, as a culture, is to shift from reactive behavior to proactive behavior. And I feel like for the first 3 or 4 years of the company, where we had no idea what we were doing, we were trying to make cool stuff and figure it out as we go, you have to be reactive. So it's issues that you can't plan for, and you just kind of do them as you go. And like, there are days in our early years where I'm at the warehouse taping and packaging boxes, and that's reactive. A proactive approach, which we're trying to learn and instill, is how do we set up and employ people at the factory that we can rely on, that are there, and how do we get backups for them so that me or Aran or Stefan don't have to go to the factory and or the warehouse and hand pack boxes. So to answer your question, it's on our list of things that we want to do, but we've taken a lot of time over the past year to try to build proactive systems. It sounds like such corporate barf gobbledygook.
Yeah.
But it's real, and it's what we're dealing with, is how do we build systems so that we can do more of the stuff that we want to do. And that is hiring a project manager and hiring and training customer support. And so we're still kind of in the thick of that, but we're feeling really good about the systems that are in place. And obviously I wish we could have done them sooner, but we weren't thinking proactively. So it's still on our list to do, and we talk about it. But as far as priorities go, it's like, let's not introduce something new in a the old Tanner and Iran would have been like, Michael's asking for a subscription, let's do it. And we would have pulled the trigger without figuring out how to do it.
Yeah.
And then we would have figured out how to do it. So our new kind of model and system is, let's figure out how to do it first. And it's a balancing act, because we want to just tell everyone, yes, we're going to do everything.
Yeah.
But it's trying to be proactive. So yes, we do want to do it. It's on our list of things to do, but we're a little bit more mature from a business sense to say, we've never sold anything on a subscription model.
Yeah.
And rather than piss people off by not figuring it out, let's try to do it a little bit with more thought.
Yeah. Well, we can share more details, that it's a little bit more complicated than, because we have to ship a new dice coin every month, and maybe now with the new production method, it's something we could do or reconsider, but it's a little bit more complicated than just the other.
What are, for Michael and Daniel who are still watching, when we did Diceomatic, we could have launched almost right away, but we tried something. I had an idea, and we tried something, and it worked. And we spent 10 months developing a completely brand new manufacturing process that nobody is using that allows us to create unique covers both on Diceomatic and Flip Die without creating a new tool or a die, which is where the bulk of a subscription coin service would come from. Because when we were originally discussing a subscription service, we were thinking about, oh, we have to, if we do a new coin every month and we don't get enough people to do the sales, we're still going to have to pay the 10 grand in the tooling for that individual coin, and that makes the cost go up for each individual coin.
Exactly.
But we haven't really talked about this because we've been so focused here. But let me show you something really quick. Where are they?
Yeah.
Right here.
Well, you know,
Okay, so our new method. So that's partly where the you know, we could have delivered Diceomatic, but they would have looked something like this. They would have been flat and printed on aluminum. But we went with a full color kind of finish, like a car's finished, so it has like the sparkle metal, and there's texture. So all of these details are raised texture and they're individual colors. And we use the same technique on our flip die.
That's amazing.
And it's a technique that it's kind of a secret sauce.
Yeah.
But if we went back to subscription, we could literally do
this is what I thought.
one-offs.
Yeah. I want to just comment on what Michael was saying. I think policies and procedures are, we call it culture. And he's right. Like, this is something we're working on all the time. This is amazing.
This one's my favorite. It's the D20 from the Bard set. This side is a super detailed treasure chest, and on the back is the Mimic version.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
There you go. Now you can see it. Oh, nice. My screen just changed, so it's getting really good light.
Amazing. Wow. I want one.
But speaking to these specifically, and this is maybe the last thing we'll say, and we'll go do some family time.
Okay.
But Iran, if we can go for another hour, then we don't have to help put the kids to bed.
No, I want to put the kids to bed. But okay, so we have two things on the list: too much communication versus lack of communication, and maybe talking about the long-term goal for Yawa Studios.
Yeah. So to answer that question, we are trying a lot of different ways to communicate, and we did. It's kind of funny because these are infinitely cooler than the other flip die. But we didn't really promote it or communicate. We were kind of building off of the success of the past campaign and maybe felt like we didn't need to. And then with our next campaign, Gamefold, we started doing like almost updates twice a week. And we had people say, you are updating us too much.
Yeah.
Then we went to once a month and people were like, you're not updating enough. So then we made some Facebook groups and we tried a Discord group, and now we're trying to Facebook Live to literally, it's a meeting with me, you, and Michael. And so, but maybe we'll cut this footage and post it. But the communication is we don't want to say that we need to communicate better because that's obvious. But we need to work on a better balance of our communication. And it's tough because everything we do, we pull the community, and we try to do what the majority wants. But that's kind of biting us a little bit because then you upset people. You do Facebook Lives and people are like, I don't have a Facebook. So
so you're right. I want to echo what I feel just really quick. I feel some people are saying you're not communicating enough, while some people are saying, hey, let me know when the pledge manager is ready. And that's hard when you got 10,000 backers. So finding that balance, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, but the new solution that we're trying is our blog posts on our website.
Yeah.
Because we have more control over that. When we do Kickstarter updates, it will email every single person regardless of whether they want the update or
Yeah.
not. On our blog posts, people can subscribe or visit when they want to, or
Exactly.
even we're working on setting up text-based messaging, and it will kind of all be in one place.
Yeah.
That's not a social media platform or something that you even need to be logged in to see.
Exactly.
And I know that's frustrating for people too, is when they, back Kickstarters on their computer and then get the email but can't see it on their phone. And,
Yeah.
there's the whole other side of Kickstarter starting to use the, I feel comfortable because Michael's here. Ron told me not to
Okay.
say this, but we're frustrated that when you do a Kickstarter update now, especially on your phones, you have to scroll to get to the update, and it's promoting all these other campaigns.
Yeah,
It feels like a kick in the
it feels
pants.
like some people said, why are you promoting other campaigns? Like it feels like we are promoting them. And I'll take it even a step further. Like you cannot even, on Kickstarter, you cannot even upload the video. There's so many things that,
Yeah, they took that down. You
yeah,
used to be able to host videos, but now
yeah,
you have to
yeah,
embed on YouTube.
yeah. And let's say another scenario that we had that we forgot to put an image and we get 10 comments. Where is this image? Where? So on the blog, we could just edit the blog and put whatever we want to, or fix an error or insert more images. And we cannot do that on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they're
Yeah, let's leave that aside. One last thing on the list. Let's talk about the let's talk about the long term, like Yarrow Studios. We talked about it in the past, but maybe some people said, which I feel you took the money and ran to the Caribbeans, or where are you? You went to, I don't know, where, Hawaii. I don't know what people said. Like you took the money and ran away. Which I feel like we've been working so hard every day on fulfilling this project. So let's just talk about that, like on the long haul.
yeah, and I kind of like that we just have one viewer because it's making me feel a little more
Okay.
loose-lipped than if we had like 50 people.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely what we are building is I just want to keep making
Yeah.
stuff. I want to keep making weird stuff.
Yeah.
I love the process of building something new that has never existed before. And that is going to come with biting off more than I can chew. But that said, there are many times where we've been in meetings and we take the Diceomatic as an example and we say, this is not good enough,
Yeah.
but fixing it is going to take 3 months.
What are you gonna
And
do?
yeah, we have this discussion
Yeah.
where how many times have I said to you, Iran, I'm like, the backers are gonna freak out, and Iran's like, look, we'll deal with that. Like we're having to weigh it. It's
Yeah.
like we're gonna get hate, but the long term is always our goal.
Yeah.
And it sounds cliche to say, but it's the guy that created Nintendo. He always says, a bad game that is shipped earlier
Yeah.
or whatever is
Yeah.
always bad, but a delayed game is eventually good.
Yeah.
And we feel that. And so I call Iran sometimes at like 9 p.m. and I'm like, and which is like 12 p.m. his time, and I'm like, dude, we need to fix this color. It's not exactly what we're
Yeah.
going for.
Yeah.
And he, you talk me down. You're like, look, we're gonna get hate, but we'll deal with it. It's better for us to have a better product than to,
So true.
appease the small minority. And it's tough. And you catch me all the time. Like me and you are such a good team.
Yeah.
I'll tell Michael because this is funny. Where I'll go to refund a backer on Kickstarter because I'm pissed. and they're like, "You're a scam. I'm never backing another thing from you ever again." And I'll go refund them, and I'll type in the Kickstarter box. I'll be like, "This backer was very emotional and thinks that Kickstarter is Amazon," and hit send. And I'll be like, "Oh, that feels good." And then they'll go on to like our social media and start flaming us, and it's totally inappropriate. I'm totally aware, and my you know my stick, I don't know, my brain only goes so far. But for you to be able to say like, "Look, let's take a step back. It's not worth the hate. We have to balance it," and we're definitely getting better at it. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the
Yeah.
future looks like, the reason why I don't want to say we need to communicate better is because that feels like a band-aid.
Yes.
What we need to do is get faster have better processes and get faster at development.
Yeah. And that's,
We shouldn't have to communicate 500 times to say, "We moved the date again, it's coming again."
yeah.
And we don't need to get better at dealing with the hate. We need to move faster because our products are good. And if we move faster, then we fix. Then it's love. It's all love.
Yeah. And I just want to say two things. Like, I feel, um, I've seen that hundreds of times on Kickstarter. You could see backers are frustrated and they cannot wait anymore. They've been waiting a year, sometimes even more. And when they get the product and the product is good, everybody will be happy. Versus, the other scenario where you ship a product where it's half baked and people would say, "What is that? Like, I waited." It doesn't matter if you waited 3 months or 6 months or a year, and you get it and you're saying, "What is that? Like, I paid $50, I paid $100. Doesn't matter if you paid even $5. You're like, this is not what I signed up for."
No,
it's
yeah, you're totally right. It's like once you hit your first delay,
yeah.
your product has to be perfect.
You have to be perfect. Yeah. And just to talk about the long haul, we have so many projects in the pipeline. And I think overall, the satisfaction of the backers and Shopify clients of Yarrow Studios is very, very high. Now, I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's around 90%, 95%. Most people are very, very happy about our products. And you can see that in the Facebook comments and the Kickstarter comments. People that backed, again, it's just 10%, but people that back the flip die, they know that we are going to do everything in our power to make sure this is going to be a good a good quality product and make the backers happy. And that's our philosophy, and that means that maybe that projects is going to take a little bit longer. And something that we talked about, just to do a full circle here, that if we have to go back in time, we need to take some margins. Like, we cannot, if we think it's going to take 6 months, we have to add like 4-6 months margins for back and forth, or improving the quality and so on.
Yeah, that's the future, right? It's ideally we're going the opposite way. We're saying this is going to take us a year to develop, and then we deliver it in 3 months.
I don't 100%. So we should take some margins and add a few months. I think we talked about everything we wanted to talk about, unless there's question or anything else you want to talk about.
Yeah, now we need to plan an actual live and do an update to Kickstarter.
Okay.
And I was thinking, we could say, "Hey, we're going live," because this was fun.
Yeah.
And it was a good test run, and it was I'm very grateful to Michael and Daniel and the other people that were here, because we really wanted to test run going live, because it's stressful, but I think it's cool. But I was thinking, if we did the Kickstarter update, we could say, "Hey, we're going to go live to talk about production." But it'd be more fun to leave it all in a mystery and say, emergency live broadcast, tune in at this time.
The people are going to get heart attacks. whatever you want to do. That's a
But
good one.
Michael and John and Ash, they'll know that that's just a joke.
Yeah. Financial update, Diceomatic.
But look, we didn't have very many people watch,
Yeah,
we're learning the process of talking live. But I think that we should do it more. I think that's part of the future of Yara Studios. Don't you
100%.
agree?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, so let's end this, and we can decide if we're going to post that or share that, or if we want to edit that. And we can do, as you said, we can do another one. Just let people know. And I think getting live question is and thank you, Michael. Like that's the best way to go.
Yeah, again, we should maybe edit this out of the end of the video so people don't get upset, but we should probably send Michael something as a thank you, because even just his comments allowed us to have a flow
Yes,
and practice. So
yes,
we should take care of him if we can.
yes. Okay, send us an email, Michael.
And then yeah, that's it. Let's wrap it up, and we can decide if we're going to post it or edit it down or whatever.
Okay.
Ash says the gaming industry is a harsh mistress and more passion than profit with all the work you put into it. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, we are very active in the community, both from talking to backers, and our time is definitely spread more thin. But we spend a lot of time talking to other creators, and it's such a tough pill to swallow when you decide to make the jump to work full time in something that you're passionate about. And the gaming industry specifically has a lot of people that are passionate about it. And I think that it's one industry that attracts creative individuals. And so it's very competitive, it's very harsh. There's a lot of people at every step of the way that try to take the money that you can raise and make. And you only need to make the wrong choice 2 or 3 times and you're non-existent.
Yeah, I agree.
And making the right choice, even if that means extending the duration, and getting some hate, sometimes it's hard to do, but it's longevity. It's being here in the long term.
Yeah. I wouldn't say hate, maybe frustration, and we understand that frustration, right? We also want to ship this product, in 6 months, but yeah, I think we understand the frustration of the delays, right? Like it's understandable.
Yeah, but also, and we'll just end with this, we're here. If anybody watching wants to do a campaign and wants us involved or not involved, we're always happy to listen. If we don't think it's a good idea and don't want to be involved, we will still help you. We will tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
And we take those regularly. So,
Yes.
and it's not from like a we want your idea of stance. We want more people in this space. We want more creatives doing this. So
yeah.
I've come upon Yara Studios much later than others, but I have no disappointment waiting for my 2 Gamefold tables. I realize I am on the far end of the delivery cycle, but we are so close.
Yeah.
Product is manufactured.
Maybe
being assembled.
Yeah, maybe just mention what happened in the Gamefold just in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, product is manufactured. Everything is paid for. We're waiting to assemble. We just did one tweak to the packaging. We went with a little bit stronger foam because UPS, we don't want to share these pictures, but we have one of a table that looks like somebody ran a drill through it.
Yeah. But the 300, like we shipped 300 tables in the US, and I think overall we got, I want to say dozens, but I personally seen like, I don't know, 20 emails from people saying, wow, this is amazing. I got the tables, I'm so happy, and I hopefully like that's that's going to happen with the mass production with everyone else on the the entire 5,000 people, the Kickstarter backers. So we're so close.
Yeah. And it's and we're still excited. We still love it. So
Yeah.
it hasn't gotten us down, and we've always from the beginning, I think if I just imparted some last bit of advice, and this was advice that Iran gave me when we first started working together, because he found this kid that was making map books on D&D and found some crazy viral success. And I remember I told you something about that. Again, this was like 5 years ago.
Okay.
I was excited about the money that we were making, and you said, it's about the journey. You have to take a step back and know that we have a journey ahead of us.
Yeah.
And that's where my brain is at now. It's not, 2 million bucks in the bank, let's all go to Disneyland. But it's seeing
Okay.
the vision and getting to that point and saying, our only goal is to create the best possible product. I'm just getting cheeseball here and
Okay.
deliver it to everybody, but that's where I'll end it.